Now it is my honor to introduce Governor Deval Patrick. As someone mentioned earlier, listening to the governor's recent State of the Commonwealth address, while I was planning this event, I realized that there are some similarities worth noting. Both men come from loving families and humble beginnings. Having demonstrated potential early on, educational opportunities were offered to each of them that provided futures that could not have otherwise been imagined. Both saw the law as a pillar of democracy that must be nurtured and protected. Governor Patrick's work ethic seems to mirror that of Mr. Mandela, who understood that if you are involved in the business of social change, the road is long, and when you reach a mountaintop, it is only to pause for a moment to enjoy the view, because then there's the next mountain that needs to be scaled. Governor Patrick has traversed many mountains these past 9 years, and as a result, our Commonwealth is much strengthened. So, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome Governor Deval Patrick.
Thank you very much. Here I am, Mary. Thank you very much. And thanks to Mary for organizing us this afternoon and to Northeastern for hosting us. And thank you all for coming out today to honor and celebrate and reflect on the extraordinary example of Nelson Mandela. Peace and reconciliation, love, resilience, persistence, determination, love, grace and hope, love. When I think of Nelson Mandela, a giant of a leader, I keep coming back to love. You don't hear leaders talk much about leading by love, not nowadays. You hear about forceful leadership, cunning leadership, smart leadership, strong leadership, but you don't hear much about loving leadership. But it might be that loving leadership, leading by love, is the most powerful kind of leadership. And Nelson Mandela may be the most extraordinary and best modern example of that. After decades of apartheid in South Africa, a system designed to grind up human dignity and cause people to abandon all hope in tomorrow. If ever there were people entitled to their rage, it was black South Africans. And yet Mandela led in a different direction. He taught his people and all of us to find common cause through common humanity. And it was then, and still is, a powerful lesson. Mandela famously wrote, "No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin, or his background, or his religion. People must learn to hate. And if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. For love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite." Imagine that. When's the last time you heard a public figure talk about love as a basis for policy choices? Nelson Mandela understood that love is not a substitute for wise policy or effective programs, or for personal responsibility or moral rectitude or perseverance, for that matter. Love is not an excuse. But without love, it's hard to make sense of things like compassion or common destiny or community itself. We could use more of that message right now. With so much want in the midst of so much plenty, with so much hurt in the midst of so much joy, so much despair in the midst of so much hope, we could use more love in each of us, for each of us. We could use more justice, which Madiba understood is what love looks like out in the open. I thank God for the spirit and the loving leadership of Nelson Mandela, and I pray that it lives on in the people of South Africa and of the world. Thank you for having me.